originally met, and then we kept running into each other at networking events, of course. And I kept seeing her. I said, well, why do I always see you at networking events? She said, well, I live in Ashburn. I said, oh, that's great. And we became good friends, and over time we've gotten to know each other very well, and I'm very impressed with what she's done. She's originally from Mount Vernon, New York, but she's lived in Virginia for 28 years. She lives in Ashburn with her husband, Jim, and she went to college at the age of 16. So she went to Delphi University, and she got a degree in political science. And then she got her MBA from Virginia Tech, so she's a Hokie. And then she got her certificate in coaching from Georgetown, so she's really done the whole education thing. And I'd like to welcome Brenda Harrington.
Good afternoon, Sterling women. How are you? So, congratulations. You have been at the top of your profession. You've done a great job throughout your career, and now you're being promoted to a position of leadership. Or maybe you're giving yourself a promotion. Maybe you've decided to open your own company. Now, you know your business inside and out. You can answer any question, you can handle any challenge. But you haven't really gotten your arms around this people thing. How do I interact with the people who I'm going to rely on to do the work? If you've been a manager before, you probably feel like you've got the skills that you need to be a good leader. And even though there are positions that require management skills and leadership skills, they're two very different competencies. A recent article in the Harvard Business Review put it very well. It described management as dealing with complexity. Leadership, on the other hand, really is about dealing with change. That 6-letter, 4-letter word that we all like so much, change. So it really is important to take some time to work on developing your own leadership style. Now, we all have innate characteristics that will enable us to do just that. But it's a journey. It's not something that comes automatically for most of us. First, we have to understand what those characteristics are. Then we have to know when and how they show up. And then we have to spend a little time refining them to make sure that we're able to use them effectively. It's worth every minute to do that. Because when you do that, you really begin to learn how to operate from your place of strength. Now, people who are new to leadership positions tend to start by imitating the behavior of someone else. Joan did that. That should work for me. I saw Kristina do that once, so I'll try that. And I can tell you from experience that doesn't work very well. Trying to imitate someone else's leadership style can be like wearing shoes that are the wrong size. My first job out of college at the age of 20 was with Mobil Oil, and I was responsible for managing a group of people who had been with that company longer than I had been on the earth at that point. I had not a clue. So what I did was try to imitate what I saw others do. After a while, I got my sea legs and it wasn't so bad, but it really was not a good place to start. Fast forward a few years, and I went to work for AT&T. As part of my job, I was relocated here to join a team that was responsible for figuring out all this divestiture stuff. Does everybody remember the breakup of the Bell system? That was an environment characterized by nothing but change. Okay, so we were here to open up a new office, we were hiring all these new people, and we were trying to get them to do the impossible, all while we were trying to keep on our game face and demonstrate this powerful leadership capability that none of us had. After a while, I just was so exhausted with that, I said, you know, what you see is what you get. I'm going to my default, and it is what it is. And that's when I really started to learn that it was okay for me to be Brenda, it was okay for me to be me, and just to work from that place of comfort. Now, it really is it's worth taking the time to do that. But it's about really embracing, honoring, and accepting your strengths and your weaknesses. And what I mean by that is we all have those saboteurs. I can't do this. I'm not smart enough. I don't have enough. I don't. Push that stuff aside. Focus on what you're good at. We all have strengths. We all have gifts. And our power is in those gifts. So take the time to work through the gifts and then deal with the other stuff. Now what I'd like to do today is introduce you to a little self-coaching exercise. In your bags, you each have a card that looks like this. Everybody got it? It says on the front, defining your leadership style. Okay. Inside, I have just provided a few questions. And if any of you have worked with a coach, you know that coaches just ask a lot of questions. That's what we do. So I provided a few questions for you to ponder, for you to think about relative to your own experiences in business and in life, to see how close you are to working from your authentic place. The first question is, does my leadership style reflect my unique abilities, can't read, or have I been imitating the behavior of others? Now, the authenticity in me brings this story to mind, and I don't know why, but I think it'll help to make the point. A couple of years ago, my husband and I were at the Gold Cup, and we're sitting with our group watching the races, and all of a sudden, Jim sees this horse coming out of the paddock that just caught his eye for whatever reason, and he decided he was going to bet on the horse. There was a Mardi Gras theme that year, and so there were beads and feathers and all kinds of things on the table. He goes and he places the bet on the horse, and he comes back and he picks up one of those feathers and he just does something over the program. Well, lo and behold, the horse won. So now the table is erupting. How did that happen? Oh, it was just crazy. So one of the other guys gets up at the next race and he goes to bet on a horse. And he comes and picks up the same feather and he goes running off to the gate, to the fence, to watch the race. And he's standing there waving, and his horse came in dead last. So he comes back to the table, lips dragging the ground, and he throws the feather back on the table. And Jim and some of the other folks at the table start laughing, and he says, I don't know how to tell them, but you can't use somebody else's mojo. You gotta find your own mojo, okay? So the message in that is, find your mojo, find your secret sauce, whatever it is. We all have it, and it's all personal to who we are. Okay, the next question. Who are the people that have inspired me to do my best work? And how can I provide that type of leadership for others? Whether it's a public figure, a president, your parent, your child, it could be anybody in your life. But the reason that their style has resonated with you is because it's familiar to you, because it's comfortable to you. So think about how you can elicit that same response, that same reaction in others. Again, we all have it. Okay, the third question. Am I using my strengths effectively as the foundation of my approach to leadership, or am I stretching to overcome for what I perceive to be my weaknesses? Again, focusing on your strengths. We all have stuff we want to fix. It'll be there. But until you get to that strong place, focus on what you do best, and it will benefit you over and over again. The last question, how can my authentic leadership style be effective in generating results? We have a finite amount of energy, we're going down the path of most resistance, then we don't have any energy left for the fun stuff. So when you find your place of strength, you've got all this extra energy, all this extra power that you can redirect for the good stuff, to create new competitive space, to develop ideas, to motivate and inspire others, because you've got this stuff under control. This is about self-awareness, okay? It's about knowing where you're strong, and it's about knowing when to let go. People generally appreciate and respect working for people that are willing and vulnerable enough to show their human side. Because that's typically someone who can also see others for who they are as individuals, and not just for the people who are doing the work for them. And that's when you really begin to develop traction. Many of you know, about a year ago, after 2 years of planning, as Kristina said, part of it, I received my certification for coaching, and I decided to leave my employer and move on. I was with a property management company for a long time. I've never managed property in my life. And a lot of the ideas that I brought to the table were not really, they fell on deaf ears, is probably the best way to put it. They thought I was the crazy aunt in the attic. And Hayden, you know, right? That's what I used to call myself, the crazy aunt in the attic. So I left there last year to develop my practice. I want you to know that around December, January, they realized the aunt in the attic wasn't so crazy. They called me back and invited me back to run the company. I respectfully declined, and then when they came back again in February, I said, I really love what I'm doing. I'm not interested in coming back. I appreciate the compliment. But what I can do for you is take you on as a client and help you with some of the things that you're struggling with. So now, they are one of my biggest clients. And that's a story about what my authenticity is done for me. So, in closing, I'd like to share a quote with you from our 6th president, John Quincy Adams. I want to read it to make sure I get it right. If your actions inspire others to dream more, to learn more, to do more, and to become more, then you are a